can't stop. I got motion. I'm moving. I'm going. Can't lose focus. I got motion. I'm moving. I'm going.
Red Corner Boxing. We're in the game.
Yes, good evening, everybody. It's Mr. Neutral here with my co-host right beside me, Brett the Boxing Man. And our special guest tonight is Mr. Jonjo Finnegan. But before we get into things, thank you, Jonjo. Before we get into things, this show is sponsored by EasyStories.com for all your local and nationwide needs, and of course, Boxing Fight Zone for all your boxing merchandise and apparel. Well, we have the one and only Jonjo Finnegan with us. Brett the Boxing Man is my co-host tonight, and we are here, episode 3 of Mental Health Mondays, our monthly show, just to highlight and give people a chance to express themselves in the men's game, if you know, as well as women when we come across them, who want to share the stories and issues. And, you know, it gives people a chance to not forget that boxing is a mental game. It's 99% mental, 1% physical. There's a lot of, you know, sports like that, because without the mental side of things, you're no good physically. So with that having been said, Brett, you know, we've done a couple of episodes now. You weren't here with the last one, but you're here for this one with Jonjo. And the theme is, you know, coping mechanisms. You know, we've seen tragedies in the past where boxers have not survived, and then we have boxers who have gone through life and death surgery. A bit like Jonjo here. You know, his family had a very, very hard 24-hour. You know, it's hard to imagine that, as people who are listening to these stories, just what the family and friends are going through, as well as the boxer, you know, and just and it's for us to highlight that just for them, you know, because we know somebody who's been affected by these things. It must be so hard for them. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, episode 3 now, and these Monday talks have been really, really insightful to us kind of lovers of the game, that we're seeing these boxers come on and share their stories, you know, and we've obviously the story that we're going to go through today with Jonjo's story and how he's coped through these tribulations and obstacles with what he went through. It just shows you that boxers may be there for our entertainment, but they're human beings first and foremost, and they've got lives away from that ring. And we forget, because we tune in on a Saturday night, we get all excited about seeing the punchers go. But at the end of the day, it's the people behind the scenes, like you just said, the family, that have to pick things up. So super excited to have Jonjo on and talk through his story. And, you know, it's very, very, very motivational story, Jonjo's. So looking forward to this episode, mate.
Yeah, Jonjo, you know, first and foremost, it's an honor and a privilege to have you on Red Corner Boxing once again. You know, we've seen you, mate. We've seen your boxing media hub before when I was working with Jams there, and Joe as well, our good friend Joe. And you know, you've had many opportunities to put your side to the story. However, what we want to explore is before, you know, that fateful night in 2012 with Ryan Clark. Just give the audience and ourselves just an indication of how a huge part of boxing was for you.
Of my life, Mr. Mean, of my life. To be honest with you, lads, right? And I, first and foremost, I'm a massive boxing fan, and I've been since like a 7-year-old little boy. My dad was a boxer. I've always grew up with the sport, and I've always been interested in, even from like a 7-8-year-old down the bottom, watching my dad sparring, trying to throw me little hands about it. Yeah, and to the point where I'm thinking to myself, I can't wait until one day when I'm old enough to have my first fight. You know, getting there at 11 years old, which I literally got registered on my birthday as an amateur. So I was ready to go then. My first fight about three or 4 months after that, and all my first 3 or 4 fights out in the amateurs, got to a flyer, and ended up. I had a long amateur career. I had 73 amateur fights in the end, so there's a lot of
Yeah.
amateur. So I boxed. I got registered at 11, and I finished in the amateurs when I turned pro at 23. So I'm trying to recall it all now. Turned pro at 23. Won my first. I think I won my first 7 or 8. I think I lost one in between then.
Yeah.
Never been stopped or even dropped as an amateur up to this point as a pro. And I think I boxed Elvis Doob then. My first loss, I think, was to Elvis Doob in the Holiday Inn in Birmingham. And
That's right.
I got dropped for the first time in that fight. Got back on my feet, and I got stopped on my feet. And then I come back after, and I beat him on points after in the very next fight after that as well. So I got us back to winning ways. And the game itself, the pro boxing, lads, is totally different to amateur boxing. I had a really good amateur career. I think I had 73 fights. I think I won 51 or 52. Did really well. Won a couple of titles in that time as well. Couldn't wait to
Yes, you did.
turned over and loved the amateurs with a really good team with BCB in the West Midlands. Errol Johnson, and Paulman, my trainers. Bob Plant at the time, who was in there. And yeah, everything was going really, really well. I picked up a master's title, an international master title, British master's title, boxed for an area title, went over to Ireland, boxed Jim Rock for an Irish title. And yeah, everything was looking really good. And then up to the point, then I'm sort of fast forwarding a little bit now, up into the Ryan Clark fight.
Mm.
So that night, then at the Ryan Clark fight, it was in Burton-on-Trent, which is my own town, lads. And
yes, Town Hall.
Yeah, at the town hall, it was neutral. Yeah, it was there, and it was a really, really, I was excited for it. I'd sold loads and loads of tickets. Really looking forward to the fight. So I was fit. I was ready to go. Got in the ring that night, and it was like a cauldron there. The place was buzzing. Everyone's shouting, and yeah, of course I was nervous, journalist, but I was ready to go, and I was really up for it. So the first 5 rounds of the fight, lads, there. I won the first 5 rounds. I never dropped around. I was boxing really, really well. Went back to the corner and did the 5th round. Come out for the 6th round and I dropped my left hand. I shot a jab out. Dropped my right hand and right clock's coming with the left hook. Bang! Caught a left hook. Caught a non-temple. Bump. I went. The next thing I knew about it, I woke up 17 weeks later in a coma in hospital with nurses around me and people saying to me, "You've been asleep. You know, you're a boxer." And I never had a clue where I was, who I was, what I'd done. Didn't even know my own name. Didn't even know I was a boxer. Didn't know anything about boxing. And so it was almost like the only way I can describe it like to you lads is it was almost like being born again. It was like okay, so then people talk to me trying to like remind me about things that bring things back to me. The first time anything come back to me, my brother said to me, "Jonjo, can you remember it was going to Las Vegas to watch Rick Cannon against Floyd Mayweather?" And I was like, "No, I don't know who that is. I don't know what you mean." And I was thinking that I felt like people was winding me up at first, and my missus come through with my kids and never even knew I had kids. Didn't know who she was. Didn't know my mum, my dad, my brother, my sisters, my closest friends. Didn't know anything about it, and everyone was talking about it to me. To be honest with you lads, right? So
You must have been in hell, Jonjo.
It was just. I was really confused. I was neutral. It was really confusing. Like people saying these things. I'm thinking,
my goodness.
Thinking to myself like, what? I don't. So I said to this nurse, I said, well, everyone went telling this one day. I said to this nurse, I said, love, I said, what's going on? I said, why do people keep saying I'm a boxer? I didn't. It was that bad news. I didn't even know what boxing was at the time. Let alone I was a boxer. And it's like, I didn't know what I did. Didn't know what I was, what I'd done. Didn't know anything about myself. I didn't even know I had children, which was heartbreaking when it come round to it. Because my eldest daughter, Courtney, she's 20 now. Actually, at the time she would have been. What was she been at the time?
Well, she must have been 7 years of age or something like that.
How old are you, Jonjo, at this time? How old are you?
I was 32 at the time. I was 32, mate. Yeah. So she's 20 now. She is, and my youngest daughter, Courtney, she's 17. I never had my son. My son's 12 next week, actually. So he was still in the pipeline. He was still Yeah, still a drink
Yeah.
apart from where he was.
Your wife or your partner,
Yeah, yeah, Joanne.
uh, Joanne,
Yeah,
your sister,
my sister,
and
my mum, my dad,
your
my
mum,
brother Frankie. Yeah,
and
yeah,
your brother Frankie, Dad
yeah,
John.
yeah.
Did you recognize any of them when you'd come round?
Do you know what, Mr. Sutri, it was a mad one because I didn't know. I actually turned around to my mum and it's quite upsetting for her, really. Bless her. I said to her, I said, before you asked me like whatever you're gonna ask me, I said, I don't know who you are. Can you tell me who you are, please? And she was like, I'm your mum's son. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, and my dad said to me a little bit of a funny bit for you, here, lads. Is my dad's coming? He says, all right, son. I said, all right, mate. I said, before you, I asked you, I said, before you said, could you just tell me who you are? Because I ain't got a clue who you are. He said, I'm your dad. I said, I'm your dad's son. I'm your dad, John. I said, no, you're not my dad. I said, you look, you're far too young to be my dad. He said, come here, son. He said, I love you. Yeah, he liked that. He liked that. Yeah, but yeah, so I had more than a year stay in hospital, lads, and they moved me to a rehabilitation place, a place called the King's Lodge in Derby. So I went in there, and they did loads of memory things with me and taught me how to walk and to talk and to eat again. Didn't even have to use knife and fork, lads. It was crazy, really. I
So
mean,
you'd lost your motor function skills had
yeah,
completely betrayed you.
completely. Yeah,
Yeah.
completely. I also had a stroke in the coma. I had a
I was
stroke.
going to say
Yeah,
there was
yeah,
it was problematic, the surgery as well, because
yeah,
I mean, without sounding too graphic, you had to have major surgery, pressure release on the brain,
yeah, yeah,
bleeding,
yeah,
which resulted in you got a hefty scar at the back of your
yeah.
head.
It still starts there, lad.
I met
Yeah,
Jonjo in Derby on December the 20th for the Alan Graves event.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you'll never meet a nicer guy in your life, ladies and gentlemen. This guy,
Thank you, brother.
the smile on this man's face when he's seen me, was just wonderful because I had a hell of a day. Trains, hotels, taxis.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
It was a hell of a day. And
yeah,
when I
yeah,
got there
yeah.
and seen that man with a big smile on his face, it just washed away all my problems. And
Bless you, bro.
we had a great night. We shared a few jars as well. I spilt more than I drank actually because at that event, such was the excitement. But
Yeah,
John Joe, going back to your friends and family,
yeah,
as Jams has put in the comments, it must have been so scary for not only yourself but
yeah,
your family, your children, of course,
yeah,
poor wee souls, bless them. To be told the news, and I believe that the hospital had urged your family to come and see you, because
Well,
he was that close.
I think the hardest bit was well, Mister, was for my mum. Bless her. I mean, my mum was my best friend in my life with my kids. She really is. She's amazing. She's done so much for me since that day. She really is an amazing lady. And they said to my mum, said, "We'll advise to come and see him because he may not make the next 24 hours." Well, being a father of three myself as well now, lads, it's like I can only imagine like how horrible that must have been. That must have been a horrible feeling for the poor lady. And
Absolutely.
and I had my mum, my dad, my kids, my brother, my sisters, and a couple of really close friends all around my coma praying for me constantly.
Yeah.
And then I mean, the amazing bit was they kept seducing me and having to induce me again, and then I wouldn't wake up, and then one day, bang, my eyes popped out while they were praying for me, and it was like he's awake, and my mum was like, his eyes flickered, my eyes flickered, sorry. And they said, my mum named Jill, said, Jill, his eyes just flickered. And she was like, no, I think you're imagining it. She said, I'm telling you, his eyes flickered. Then bang, the eyes open then. So it was a miracle. I'm a miracle, really, lads. It's a miracle that I'm here. It really is. And
Absolutely. And praise the Lord.
praise the Lord. Yeah, I generally do every single day. I do Mr. Neutral. And do you know what, lads? It's like from that day there, when I finally come around a little bit. I mean, I thought when I was in the coma, I thought I was on a cruise ship, believe it or not. I thought I was actually on a ship, on a holiday somewhere, and I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what was going on really. It's just a really crazy sort of like turn of events, really.
So Jonjo, when obviously, when did you get that light bulb moment where things started flashing? But was it over a gradual time, or was it like what?
It was gradual, Brett. But I tell you what it was. People kept telling me I was a boxer, that and the other. And like I said, I didn't know my brother, my mum, my dad, my kids, my missus, my sisters. Didn't know anyone, not my closest friends. Didn't know obviously my trainer Errol and lads that had come and seen from the gym. That I never had a clue who anyone was. It was just like, I don't know what the hell's going on here, but like, and I'm speaking quite well now. And I think my speech isn't too bad, is it? I don't think my speech is too bad. You know, you tell me, but
Fantastic, considering what you've been through, pal.
I couldn't even talk at that time, and I had to have speech therapy and I had to learn to walk again, to talk again. So I've come a hell of a long way, boys. I really have.
You have,
And
you know, when I met you, I mean, you're a towering figure of a man. You know,
yeah,
you're 6. I don't know, you look to me about 6'6". You know, I'm only a wee guy. I'm only 5'8". And looking at Jonjo up there like that, bloody hell, he's a big hefty guy, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean?
I'm 6'1", I'm Mr. Neutral, and I tell you what it was. So when I was boxing, I was 12. So I think I'm not fat, but I put a bit of weight. I'm the 6 pack's gone for the time being, but I'm about 15 stone, 15 and a half stone now.
Yeah, good hefty boy you are, so don't worry about that.
Put a bit of size back on. Yeah. But
I mean, you spread it evenly. You know, you haven't got a gut. You haven't got
no
anything. You just, you know, you look like a cruiserweight, you know, or heavyweight, but you know, because you know the size of you wear it well.
Yeah.
You know, Brett, I want to take you back a little bit to your rehabilitation. Now, you know, as you said, you had to learn certain motor skill functions again. And I believe one of the problems was bright lights, so you had to wear
I've got these
sunglasses.
And people think the sunglasses, and it's a bit annoying at the time because they're actually prescription glasses. But the light, the light, like my eyes are really quite light sensitive. They are. So that's why these dark glasses. But I literally got them on really more or less from the morning to night time, more or less really. Yeah.
I mean, I remember seeing a video of you walking back into the Wednesbury gym in where you live, seeing the lads again, and it was quite it was quite surreal to see a young Flash Ashleen who was in the gym with you at that time, you know, and the other lads here. Yeah, what must have been a wonderful moment going seeing Rob again and all the guys.
Lads, I can't lie to you. I've had a lot of really emotional flipping moments and times since that, and that was probably the first one that really got to me. I've sort of gone in and then going there and seeing Errol and seeing the lads and Ash and Chris True and a lot of the other lads. It was like, again, it brought back a lot of memories. I remember sparring this ring there. I remember sparring Jason Wall. I remember sparring such, and it was like, wow, and I thought I missed this, and it was quite upsetting. I mean, I remember getting back in the car with the lady that took me over there. She was doing the documentary. A lady.
That's right.
Lisa Burrows, the name was, and I've been friends with the sister for a long time. Girl called Emma. That's how she got in touch with me, and it's just quite and I had to turn it away because I just couldn't. I just cried because it was just started missing it, and then when I was looking at videos and DVDs and my fights and looking at things that to do with boxing and newspapers and boxing news I was in and things, and it just broke my heart, and it sort of like it went from the stage of like not knowing nothing to thinking to myself when things did come back to me. I mean, I can remember most of my fights now, lads. My short-term memory is terrible, but my long-term memory is pretty good, really. I remember like school days and things like that, but I can't. That's what I did last week. I ain't got a clue. It's a strange one, really. But so when things did come back to me, and I started to stand up and just to look in the mirror and throw a few shots again and do a little bit of shadow boxing, it was like I thought this is where the mental side of it for me come, because it was like, right, okay, so I've been a boxer since I was 9 years old now. I'm 32, 33 years old now. What's my purpose? What do I do then? What do I do now?
Yeah. Was
And it was
that
like,
the moment? Was that the moment that it truly hit you that you were never going to box again?
I went back to the hospital a few months later, couple months later, and they wanted to speak to me. And everyone kept saying, "Oh, Jonjo, you ain't going to box. You're not going to box." And I kept thinking to myself, "I'll get better. I'll get better. And once I'm better." And this and the other, I thought I'm going to get back in there again. I was just basically lying to myself. And when I got back, I said to Sarah, I said, "So when will I be able to actually get back in there and fight again?" And she wasn't being funny when she did this, but she actually laughed at me. And I said, "What's funny?" I said, "It's my life. It's what I do. It's my job." He said, "No." She said, "Jonjo, you've got to understand that." She said, "You get back in the boxing." You said, "In fact, I'll rephrase it." She said, "If you even hit your head on a car door hard," she said, "you will die." And that's just the truth of it. And I looked at her and I went, I said, "You're being serious, aren't you?" And she said, "I've never been serious in my life." And I was like, "Right, okay." Again, and it was that one moment in my life where I just cried like a baby, and it was like,
Yeah.
it was a bit, and everything got a little bit too much to take at the time. Then it was like I realised I couldn't drive. I'm blinded the left side of both eyes, lads. Which
Yeah.
again came as a blow. I was in hospital for a long time, and my mum kept saying to me, "Jonjo, you don't even talk to me. Why do you keep turning right round?" And I said, "Well, I can't see you properly." And I just thought I was still a bit dizzy from whatever. And then they tested my eyes, and so the left side of both my eyes, lads. I'm blinded the left side of both eyes. So I can see out both eyes. I can't see my hand now.
Is it
until
your
the side.
peripheral vision
I've
is diminished?
nothing on my left side at all, Mister. But
Yeah.
I've things there. I've got nothing there at all. So that's why I can't drive. I can't work. And I started having epileptic seizures and things like that. And things
Yeah.
just went on. And then flipping end up getting bloody skin cancer after all that. Crazy, really. So
Goodness gracious.
it was like went from having this really. I suppose my life, lads. All I can kind of describe it is to you boys is my life went from being right up there to like
Yeah.
overnight, like going right down there and lower. And it was like, so all these people that had been around me, and then obviously I was remembering things like that. I remembering names and my friends and you know my sparring partners and lads in the gym and my trainers. And I'm thinking to myself, so all these people that my circle friends, like, where are they? Because I haven't seen no one was knocking at the door. Nobody was ringing. My phone weren't ringing. But then it was funny because the boxing community did reach out to me, but I wasn't in a place to kind of like be able to receive it. Does that make sense, lads?
Yeah, it does.
It does, yes.
Yeah.
Acceptance. You don't. You the fear of not being yourself around a community that you've once loved. Yeah, that's totally understandable. Totally.
Right.
Being left on the sidelines.
Yeah. Do you know, Brett? Joe, you just said there, mate. Right? Actually, I couldn't put it any better. It was like I had to sort of change from being one person into another person, like literally overnight. I went from being Jonjo the boxer that ran every morning, that was eating, flipping, the diet was bang on point, to this lad that couldn't get out of bed, couldn't flipping keep his eyes open, couldn't drive a car anymore, couldn't do a run, couldn't hit a punch bag, couldn't spar, couldn't hit a pad. And it was like, so I put my hands together, lads, and I said, "Lord, is this really happening? Because, or is it a bad dream? Because if it is, what's my purpose in life? What do I do now?" And I was just lost, lads. I was just like, but I really enjoyed my job. I enjoyed spending time with the lads in the gym. I enjoyed sparring. Obviously, when I got a fight, it was like a big thing. I got to start a 10-week camp, whatever I was doing, if it was for a title, whatever. And it was just like, it just blew my mind. I just thought my life was over in a way, really, to be honest.
Yeah. You're a career boxer from a very young age.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
all you've ever.
23 years. 23 years I was at it. Yeah.
It's all you've ever known. It's all you've ever wanted to do.
It was.
And it's the stark realities that hit us. And not only, for yourself, your family, but it's a stark reminder to fans that boxing is not a game.
Yeah. No.
You don't play boxing.
The other thing that hit me, lads, after that was it was really weird because before me, I felt like I'd never seen it like any, apart from Michael Watson and Gerald McClellan. They were the two big ones that stood out to me. Spencer Oliver as well, and I think that there was the three that come to me, and then so then after me there was like Jerome Wilson. Then there was Michael Norgrove died. Mike Powell died.
Yeah.
And then there was another lad, then another fella. Oh, I can't remember his name now.
Ingle.
Yeah. Richard, sorry, that Colombian boy,
Oh,
Cole.
Scott West. Well, he died, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been numerous,
Yeah. Yeah.
cases since, your accident.
Yeah.
Now, which during that recovery period as well, talk about your support system, that was set up in place to help you along. Once you
Yeah.
realised
Yeah.
that
Once I was back on,
boxing
yeah.
was no longer an option.
My trainers, Mr. Lads Brett, my trainers, Errol Johnson, has been very poor man. It's been really good. I've got a few lads from gym like Chris Truman, Martin Gethin, Stephen Gethin, Darren Gethin, the three brothers. Martin
British
Roy,
lightweight champion, Gethin.
yeah, Martin.
Yeah, remember him.
Yeah. He was a strong little lad, Martin. He's a good lad, Martin. I like Martin. He's got a lot of time for him. But them boys were there for me. If you need to reach out to Jonjo, we're here for you. And that was really that was nice. And they were as well. And Chris Truman, they come over and see me, and a few other lads, amateur boys and that. And Errol picked me up and took me to a couple of shows with him if he was passing by and things. So yeah, I sort of like kept my face in the game a little bit, and yeah, got invited to a few shows, went to watch a few shows, but I find it really hard even to stay sometimes, Mr. Tuchel, that when I'm sitting there at a show, rings on, and I'm watching a lad box, I'm thinking, it's not bad. I'm thinking, oh, wait, it's always super middleweight, light heavyweight. I'm thinking, I'll beat you. And I think it's over, John. If you forget, it's over.
Yeah.
we're not at it anymore. So, but yeah, so it's just a really, really sort of like. It's a sad one, but at the same time, now I'm 45 now, so I'm I'll be done by now anyway. Well, I think I'll be anyway. No, the mad thing was, lads, for me was I never ever once thought about retirement. I never ever thought, oh, this fight now and I'm done now. I'll have this one now and I'll be done. It was always like, I think I thought I'd be boxing until I was 90. It was one of them. Like,
Yeah.
I just love the sport so much, and it's one of them. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, Jonjo. That's the thing with just listening to the story.
Yeah.
Before you entered this world, you were always going to be a fighter, mate. And even going through what you went through, to go through all of that, and you still wanted to fight through. You still wanted to get better.
Yeah.
That's the spirit and the fighting will and desire. That's only born into certain people, and you're one of them people.
Well, they do say, Brett. I mean, the surgeon said to me that they're operating on me, and her name was Miss Cartmel. And how can I describe her? I'm not going to be distraught because she was an amazing lady. She saved my life at the end of the day, but she was very, very blunt, really just to the point. And I spoke to her after, and I wanted to go and see her. So I went to she sort of walked in. She was sort of sat there like I am now. She was like, when I'm Scott, she went, hi. I said, okay. I said, just want to say thank you to you. She looked at me straight in the eye. She said, I don't want you to say thank you to me. She said, I'll do my job. I said, yeah, but I know, but I just, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here now. She said, don't want to hear it. She said, don't say thank you to me. No, that's all right. She said to me, just go away, enjoy your life. She said, make the most of your life. She said, because the fact that you're alive now, John, I will say one thing to you. He said, you are a miracle. She said, the accident you had, the subdural hematoma, she said, it's the chance of survival there are literally flipping 1 in a million, really. She said, so you're very lucky to be alive. And I thought, well, yeah, okay, that'll do me. So yeah, so it's I'm lucky with blessed, lads, to be still be here. Really am.
Yeah. In other words, the doctors could only do so much.
Yeah.
And the rest of it was in God's hands.
I do believe that.
Let's talk about your discovery of God.
That's I'm really glad you asked me about that. Mr. Because not many people like to sort of miss out, don't they, and leave that. But yeah,
it's part of a coping mechanism, isn't it?
Without doubt,
exactly what we're talking about. So tell us how that's going for you.
Do you know what, Mr.? It's a really, really, really funny one because I mean, if you said to me, "Did I believe in God before the accident?" I wouldn't say no, but I probably wouldn't say yeah. I'd have sort of like I'd have gone.
agnostic sort of thing. Yeah.
I'd gone something I never really thought about. I just gone with it. I was busy with family, busy with work, busy with boxing, and it was like something I never sort of kind of thought about. And it was like I woke up at this moment and I found myself, and I did, subconsciously I found myself like lying in the hospital bed, my hands together, talking to God, and I sort of went, "What am I doing?" And it was like I'm praying. So it's like almost like someone put my hands together for me, and I kept asking him questions, and I said to him, you know, Lord, why this and why that, and he said, and all I kept getting back, lads, was all I kept feeling, and that he was telling me was, Jonjo, you're going to be all right. Go away, enjoy your life, change things a little bit, and get over boxing, and just enjoy your life. But you're going to be all right. I'll look after you. And so I got out. So it's a funny one, lads, because I used to I was a bit of a lad out on a night out. That's when I wasn't boxing, you know, as we do, and up to this, that, and the other, and just being a normal lad. And these days now, boys, my favourite days of the week are a Wednesday night. I want to go to church on Wednesday, and I go to church on a Sunday. Then go to a small group meeting on a Monday night, and they're my favourite days of the week. They are, boys. Yeah. So I just do a lot of work with God, and do a lot of praying and a lot of stuff for the church. Yeah, and I love it. I really do love it. Yeah.
Excellent.
I've also lads, I also got rebaptized, lads, about 4 or 5 months ago now, and that was incredible as well. Yeah, that was really good.
So the Holy Trinity.
Yeah,
Good man.
Yeah, that's the one. Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
There you go. That's the one.
Yeah, definitely.
That's my gang as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man.
Yeah. I mean, the more I think about it, you know, the more it's just, as you say, it is an absolute miracle that you're here talking to us today. Never mind bringing up a family and getting back to, it genuinely took years for you to get back on your feet and start, tell us about, what you're doing with yourself today to make Jonjo Finnegan, feel happy again.
Try my best. I'm definitely real honest with you lads now. It's my energy levels these days and my fatigue. I suffer from real bad chronic fatigue. Like with my eyes only working like 50% now. It's sort of like I kind of describe it like, so you charge your phone up in the morning and you're on 100%.
Yeah.
You pick your phone up in the morning and then come dinner time, it's 70. You're on like 30% and it's flashing, and I have to sit down and have a little bit of a rest. I have to really pace myself in what I do, and what I can do, and what I can't do these days, because just get so tired all the time. And to the point where it does depress me and get me down a little bit, because there's things I want to do. People ask me to do this, do that, and I just can't. I just physically can't do it myself. So
yeah.
I go to the gym a little bit. I can't train or do anything like I used to. I just try and watch what I'm eating a little bit, so I'm not putting too much weight on. Luckily, I've got got a decent metabolism. So I'm not massively fat or anything like that. Put a couple of stone on, which is normal, I suppose.
Are you looking for it? As I said before,
Yeah. I've got a son, Mr. Little Jonjo Jr. He's 11. He's 12 next week, actually. Bless him.
Happy birthday to Jonjo Jr.
Yeah, thank you, lads. Thank you, boys. Yeah, he loves boxing. He's dead strange, lads, because he's the spitting image of me. How I looked at his age.
Yeah,
he's literally, he talks like me, he walks like me, his movements are like me. It's unbelievable, really. And obviously he loves boxing. So
he loves boxing, but
he loves it. Yeah.
How much can, out of 100%, can you support him in it, knowing the dangers and of the sport? It must be a hard one for you.
It's a question, which I get asked all the time. This is right. And if you just said to me a few years ago now, Jonjo, would you have a son? Would you let your son box? I go, yeah, of course. Well, yeah, get him in there. But I've got to say to you now, and if he was here now, he'd give me a jab for this. I'd say I generally just don't want it. I really don't want him to get in there, because he's a good-looking boy. He's quite savvy. He's a clever little thing, and he's got a clean face. But the worst thing about it is he can do it. He's there, he's got the shots. He knows what he's doing.
He's got the DNA.
It's because my dad was a boxer, his granddad was a boxer, my brother was a
Oh,
boxer, his uncle was a boxer. So yeah, it's in him. But I suppose all in all, lads, if it comes down to it and he wants to do it, he'll have the end say when he gets to a certain age. But I'd prefer him to sort of kind of like steer away from it. But like I say, I suppose it's going to be up to him in the end, isn't it? Yeah.
How does your partner? Sorry, mate. On you go.
Yeah, I said, Jonjo, play football. I said they earn more money than boxing, and they get the pretty women. So I don't care that. He's not having it. He's not having it at the minute though. He's adamant that he wants to go back and beat the lad that beat me. So I said he's long retired by now, mate. yeah. Well, yeah. I suppose as a boy, you just want to make your dad proud, don't you, lads? You know, like I want to make my dad proud, sort of thing. Yeah.
Brett, anything? It's hard.
Yeah, I think obviously Jonjo's, what an insight that we've had today listening to this, and just the fight that he's had outside the ring has just been incredible, and very, very inspiring, Jonjo. So thanks for sharing it with us.
Yeah,
one thing I would say because of this, of the coping, what obviously we won't go down the route of this if this happens to somebody else, but just for someone that's had struggles to the levels that you've had in life, what picks you up, mate? What when you wake up these days, some of these days, and you're like, you know what, it's not a good day. What drags you out of that? What advice can you give people?
Brett, again, mate, another really, really good question, mate. Right, and something that I've wrestled with, and something that I've struggled to in my mind's going back and forth with, because sometimes I wake up and I think to myself, I just feel like I've got no purpose at all now. And I always work from the day that I left school. I always boxed. I turned pro at 23, so I had the best part of 10 years boxing pro. I always earned money, brought money into the house. I had my own house, paid the mortgage, and sometimes I wake up and I think, it's not an nightmare, John. This is really happening. What we're going to do today, and sometimes there's no one there to pick you up or take you out or take you down to the gym for a steam room or to sit in the gym and talk to somebody.
Yeah.
So sometimes I get a bit low. So I may look at my socials a little bit and look on Twitter and just have, I've got some really good friends and like you boys, and it picks me up and we have a little bit of banter and whatever else. But I think, lads, for me, really, my kids, Courtney, Keelan, and John, little Jonjo, my kids, they really help me, and my love for them keeps me going. I've got an amazing mother, an amazing father, brother and sisters, nephew, niece. I've got a little niece now, and about 7 or 8 nephews. So I've got a big family, and you know what, lads, I've got 3 or 4 really, really, really good friends that are like family, that care about me, that'll message me and just check in on me and say, John, what are you doing? You're all right, mate. And if I say no, they'll say, what's up? And they'll come around and see me, they'll pick me up, and we'll go for a coffee and sit there and have a chat, whatever. And so I think, Brett, in answering your question on the whole, mate, I think remembering that I've still got a life, mate, that a lot of people that give anything to have a life, and there's people dying at the right this very second now that do anything to live. So being grateful for just the attitude of gratitude, and having a beautiful, caring family and support network, mate, and just trying to do the best that I can every day and just be a decent person. That's me, mate. Yeah.
Good for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an inspiration. Incredible. I'm stunned. I had another question lined up. It's just completely left me listening to your last statement, but it'll come back to me. But it's unbelievable how sensitive the brain is, and just how much we put ourselves through it.
Yeah, I'm going to be totally honest with you boys, right? And I was never really an emotional person. I'm never really a deep thinker, really, I suppose. I'm probably one of the deep thinkers you'll ever meet in your life now. And anyone say that to you. I think I overthink things. I sometimes I'll sort of sit there in my own sort of world. But do you know one thing? I'm one of them lads now, lads. If I watch a film that's a little bit sad with the kids, I'll cry well before they will. It's like my emotional side of it is, and it's all right. I'm not bothered at all about straight. If something's a little bit sad or upsetting, I get what it is. But yeah, I don't really care anymore. Yeah,
It's your
yeah,
humanity.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
you're getting in touch with
yeah.
your own humanity as well.
Definitely,
Uh,
definitely.
and
Yeah,
you know, and that's the thing with mental health. That I mean, I can't. I've got no experience of it, but you have. You know, people like you have who've gone through it.
yeah, yeah,
You know, you don't ever think about it until it happens.
yeah,
The warning signs are there in boxing. However,
yeah,
in the run of a mill fight, you
yeah.
just never expect it. You never expect it.
What I'll say to you, what else I will say to you, lads, as well, before I do go, before you have to cut me. I don't know how long we've got or whatever,
No, no,
but
on you go,
yeah,
mate.
yeah. What I will say, lads, is this, right? Is I woke up one day and I thought to myself, and I don't sort of like publicise this because I don't want people. I don't want people. Last thing I want is people thinking I want to feel sorry for us. I don't. But I sort of woke up I was waking up in the mornings. I'm thinking, I feel like I haven't got a purpose on this planet anymore. Like, do I want to live? Do I really want to be here anymore? And I was thinking suicidal thoughts, and I was, and I said to my mum one day, I said, Mum, I keep thinking these horrible things. She said, what do you mean? I said, I keep thinking I don't want to be here anymore, and I just, if I wake up tomorrow morning, I ain't bothered, and thinking, should I get rid of myself, and she was like, please don't, Sarge. I said, well, Mum, I am thinking that, and it kept coming back and coming back and coming back. So she said to me, do you think you need a bit of counselling? And I said, I thought about it. I thought, I'm not a girl. I'm not. It's nothing bad in saying yes to that. I said I went to see a counsellor, lads, and do you know what? Honestly, I tell you what, lads. Honestly, it was the best thing I ever did. You know, it was the best thing I ever did. I walked in. I walked in there. I walked into this counsellor, lads, and I sat there. And she went, "Hi, John." I said, "Hi, you're right." She was a black lady, and I shook her hand, and she went, "Right." I said, "Come on, then, spill out. What have you got to say to him? What's been going on?" I told her what I said. I said, this happened, that happened, and she looked at me. She looked at me. I was wondering. She said, how have you not been here? It's been 3 or 4 years before now. So I just thought, I'm a boy, I'm a man, and I'm a big hard boxer, and I can take it. But I said, I just can't. I said, I just can't do it on my own anymore. Just can't. And she said to me, said to me, we spoke through it all. I had days in there when I sat there and cried. Days in there where I sat there and I was angry. Days where I didn't want to go, but days where I really wanted to go. I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to be there. And I had about 7 or 8 sessions with her. Lads, it was the best thing that I ever did. She really, really helped me, and really, and it really. So what I will say to anyone out there, if anyone's watching this that is struggling, please do not be afraid to seek help, because it's the best thing that I ever did. And I never thought that I'd ever do that, and it was the best thing I ever did. Honestly, it really was.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you feel that boxing should have something in place for ex-boxers to call
Massive,
upon?
massively,
Do you,
lads. I
do you
think
think?
I know, lads, that even when they haven't had to finish, when I had to retire, even when it's just it's time to run out for them. I know lads that just can't get over the fact that they can't get in the ring anymore, and they'll go back and they'll try and make a comeback, or they'll go and do an unlicensed fight and get knocked out, or get beat up, or they'll let drugs and drink and drugs and end up in a mess because they just can't deal with the fact that they can't do what we used to do anymore. I think that boxing really does need a support network, because I do generally think that the problem it'll just keep getting worse and getting worse and getting worse. I do. Yeah. So yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. Yeah, definitely.
The call should go out for the British Boxing Board of
Yeah,
Control
yeah,
to have
yeah,
measures in place,
yeah, yeah,
to have people in
yeah,
place
yeah,
to have access to mental
yeah.
health teams.
I know Peter Fury's he's just started something off now, hasn't he?
Yes,
I can't think
the
what it's called now.
retirement fund, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like an Xbox thing, which is
Yes.
fantastic. Really, I'm well behind that. I've been supporting them on that a little bit. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Hopefully, that is the start of an avalanche of
yeah.
help that is needed. in the
Hopefully,
sport of boxing.
Fingers crossed,
And,
boys.
and Brett, you know, we've talked before of what John Joe was saying there about help. Who's there to speak to? You know, don't be afraid to, you know, seek help, all the rest of it. But there is a caveat in that where, oh, what help do I seek?
Yeah.
I've got to
Yeah.
speak to someone who
Mm.
who'll put me on the right.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas,
Yeah.
There needs to be education. I mean, it's the same
yes,
with there needs to be education. There needs to be a foundation set up that's specifically for something like this. Because
yes,
in doing this series, what I'm learning from it is, and we're breaking down barriers, the stigma of men not being able to speak to people and being vulnerable. We're talking to fighters, like I say, that put their life on the line, as Jonjo did, for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
Now, if they're willing to be vulnerable, share their stories, go and sit and speak to people, then the normal man on the street should be able to do it.
Yeah. Definitely.
And ultimately, I do believe we are breaking ground with the stigma about people talking to people. I do think there's been a lot of social media on it that men should start to talk, even if it's like John Joe says, he goes for a coffee with his mate and his mate brings him round and gives him a tap on his arse and says, come on, John Joe, we'll have a better day tomorrow, mate, you know. But ultimately, when you get that low, and you really don't feel like anybody else, you feel like the world is judging you, you need a professional. And certainly, like I say, we keep talking about it, Mr. Neutral, over and over again. Things need to be done. At some point, somebody with a bit of power in the sport needs to cut the ribbon and get it going.
Yeah.
absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
I got to stage, lads, where I was waking up in the morning and I didn't realise that my brain was kicking into gear, and I'm thinking to myself, right, so it's Tuesday today. I've got a long week to go now till next week, and I'm thinking, right, so what do I do? Can't jump in my van and go to work. I can't jump in my car and go to the gym. I can't go see my friend. And then my phone was ringing, lads. And the sad thing was, and anyone that's watching this, that I did this, I'm sorry. The phone was ringing, and I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking, I wasn't even to see who it was. I was just turning my phone over, putting it on silent. I didn't want to speak to anyone. Didn't want to do anything. And in the end, I just cut myself off, and it to the point where my mum and my family, and my brother said to me in the end, right, get your stuff on, get your trains on. We'll go in out, get up, move now. And I was like, I don't want to, I ain't doing nothing. And my brother would say to me, John Joe, fucking get up now. You're doing something. Stop it now. Pack this in there. I'm not having this shit no more. And I was, and if I didn't, I don't know where I'd be now. To be honest with you, I don't know. No.
Yeah, that's that grounding, that support network. You know, to give you that extra motivation and incentive to get up and do things is all too easy to get into a rut mentally. You know, I've done it myself years ago, and nothing like this is not even close, unimaginably not even anywhere close to your problems. But you know, ruts are very easy to get into and hard to get out of. You know, but look, you know, you've given advice to go and get help. We are saying, if you need to talk to anybody, go and do it. Don't do it alone. There's no kudos in doing it alone. You know, could it be a father figure that say, "Oh man, up boy, well done, you've done it on your own"? That's a load of crap. You need to speak. The human brain is a muscle that needs to be exercised, and when it's not exercised in the right way, it's detrimental. But look, John Joe, we've come to the end of our program. We want to thank you for the bottom of our heart for sharing your.
I really appreciate your time. Honestly, I do, boys.
No, it's absolutely amazing. Your honesty and the fact that you touch with your feelings. You're an inspiration to men. This gentleman is the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet in your life, and the smile on his face it just warms the heart. And you know, and
lads, can I just do one more little thing before
you go, please do.
Sorry, boys. Yeah, I went. Ricky Hatton invited me a few years ago now to go down and see him. He followed me on Twitter, so it's on Word X, and he DM'd me and he said to me, he said, John, I've been reading your tweets and looking out for you, reading about things about you, looking at over you, seeing what you've been doing. He said, just want to say to you, John, that listen, I've got a 10-year anniversary party next week for when I box across the zoo for the world title. I'd love you to come down with and bring a +1 with you.
Come on.
So me and my missus went down with him at the time, Mr. Neutral, and you know what? It was incredible. He was so good to me. He actually waited at the top of the stairs at the MEM where it was. Walked into the guest room, sat with him, and bought me a drink. He offered to buy him a drink. He laughed at me. He said, "Jonjo, why don't I want to drink off you?" He said, "I've got. Don't worry about that." He said, "I've got you one. Put it all on my tab. This, that, and the other." He said, "And let's have a chat in a bit." I said, "We're not. I'll have a good chat to you." So obviously, I knew he'd be struggling a little bit with his mental health, was that this, that, and the other himself. But didn't actually realise how bad Mr. was until this day. So he come over to me. He sat down. He sat down. He had a Guinness, bless him. I think I had one with him, and we sat there. And he said to me, he said, "How you getting on?" And I went, I said, "You know what, Rick?" I said, "If I'm honest with you, and I will be honest with you, I'm an honest person." I said, "I'm struggling, mate. I'm really struggling." He said, "I know you are." So I read your tweets. So I know how it feels. I'm there. I've been there myself. So I'm still there myself some days. He said, "Well, John, let me just say one thing to you." And this is what really upsets me and guts me about the Ricky Ant story, because he said this to me, lads. And do you know what? He couldn't actually take his own advice in the end, but God bless him. And it really upsets me. He said to me, "John, let me just say to you that there's life after boxing." And I walked out and we drove home that night, and I thought about what he said. And I thought, he's right. There's life after boxing. There is. And then what's happened to him now. And I love that guy. He was my inspiration, really, as a boxer. Ricky was. So I knew him a little bit in the amateurs, and I went to watch all his fights at the MEN, and I even went to watch Mayweather in Mayweather in Vegas as well. Bless him. So yeah, and so after he said that, and I thought, but just anyone that's out there that's struggling, whether it's regards boxing, regards anything, I just really want to. Yeah, I can't urge people enough just to get off the backside and pick the phone up and to speak to someone, because there's people out there that will help you, that want to help you. Do you know what I mean, lads? That's all I'm saying. Yeah. I just want to say that, boys. Yeah.
Wow. Brett, any last words?
No, just thanks, Jonjo, mate. This has
Thank you, Brett. Thank you, mate.
A really, really kind of touching episode, and like we always say, me and Mr. Neutral, we started this over a chat over the phone of like, what can we do? What can we do? Whether we affect one person or we affect 100 people, it don't matter to us. We just love the sport. We respect the boxers. First and foremost, we can have a little bit of banter of what we like and what we don't like. But the one thing about me and Mr. Neutral is we idolize the boxers that put their life on the line to bring this sport to us. So I really appreciate you, mate, Jonjo. Thank you very much, mate.
Hey, respect, lads. Thank you for that. Thank you so much, Lawyers, honestly. Anytime you need me for anything, you want to ask me anything, just get in touch, and I'm always here, boys, anyway.
Absolutely. Jonjo, thank you for your honesty and strength. And the message to the audience: coping isn't about going back to who you were. It's about learning how to move forward and who you are now. Prime example, Mr. Jonjo Finnegan. He's had to reset his priorities. He's got children growing up. He's got a young boy, and he's got lots to look forward to. Jonjo, on behalf of Red Corner Boxing, we thank you and your family and your friends for giving us your time and your experiences about them. This show is sponsored by EasyStories.com for all your local nationwide needs, and of course, Boxing Fights Zone for your boxing apparel merchandise. My name is Mr. Neutral, with my co-host, the Boxing Man, and our special guest, Jonjo Finnegan. Till next time, take care.
I'm moving. I'm going. I can't stop. I got motion.